The top 10 most watched Netflix movies are, well, we'll tell you in a second. But number one is K-pop Demon Hunters. Brian and I have been on this for a while. It is now a global phenomenon. Brian, did you know that Netflix bought the rights from Sony for $100 million? Sony has got to be beating themselves up for letting that go for $100 million.
And then I heard somewhere too that it was like up to a deal is like after $20 million, it makes $20 million. Netflix gets to keep the rest of the profit. I am not sure what the deal is, but yeah, Sony didn't realize how big of a hit they had in their hands, and they should have held on to this more. But just to go over the list real quick, we got number one, Demon Hunters, coming in at 236 mil. We have number two, Red Notice, 230.9 mil. Number three, Carry On, 72.1 mil, big drop off right there, nearly 500, 600 million dollar. 60 million. But number four, Don't Look Up, 171.4 mil. Number five, The Adam Project, 157.6 million. Number six, Bird Box, 157.4 million. Back in Action, 147.2 million with Jamie Foxx and Cameron Diaz. And then we got Leave the World Behind, Ethan Hawke, Julie Roberts at 143.4 million. Number nine, Gray Man and Gosling. We got Chris Evans, a bunch of people. The Gray Man, 139.3 million. And then we got number 10, Millie Bobby Brown's Damsel at $138 million. Steven, any first inspections? It's surprising. It's cool that streaming can make that much. I wonder if they did K-pop right away. I think they did go to the theaters, but if it was theatrical, I wonder how different these numbers are. But what are your initial thoughts about this list?
Well, they had a very limited release, K-pop Demon Hunters. I mean, just so short-sighted. But hey,
now they're doing the sing-along stuff, which is cool. I'm about to go.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. But my thought when I looked at this list was, wow, what a somewhat average group of films that somehow were able to amass such a wide audience. If you look at number two, Red Notice, Gal Gadot, Ryan Reynolds, and The Rock, it's no surprise that it got that many viewers, right? Because just of the star power. But the movie that stands out to me, the two movies that are the best, in my opinion, are Damsel with Millie Bobby Brown, which we thought we both watched that. We thought
it
was
wasn't bad.
Pretty good action solo film. And then K-pop Demon Hunters, I thought was the two. And it's just, I'm not making this into a negative thing. It's just interesting to look at this list to say, like, are there any unbelievable films on this list? Maybe there's one or two per person.
Just one. I mean, Damsel is a good movie. If this was coming out in the 90s, it would have got lost in the waves of all these other movies. It's kind of sad that, this is the top 10 list. It goes to show how hard it is to make a good movie. Demon Hunters blows these out of the waters. Like, this is so much bigger than all these. I think Bird Box had a huge viral. I watched it, but I think it was more of like a meme than it was. Not that K-pop isn't a meme now, but I think it's the only one I'm like, okay, that's a mega hit right there. That deserves to be on here. These other movies it's just kind of disappointing that, like, it seems with streaming, and this has been across the board, that there's just been a dip in quality. Trying to become a writer, but it just doesn't seem like the stories are there, or somehow it's getting botched. I just have a hard time believing, how can there be such a difference? But this happens in film. There's times of growth and proliferation, I don't botch that word, but times of doing, extreme success, and then times of extreme failures. We're coming off a time of, huge success from the 90s to 2000s to maybe, up to COVID, really. And then we're experiencing the dip, because what goes up got to come down, and this is the come down right here. Hopefully Demon Hunters, the one thing I will say about this is that, that's a good trend. At least, the number one right now is the most recent, because there needs to be some increase in quality here. I mean, I think that that's why, like Netflix, I'm just like, you're going to it for almost like TV shows and reality. You want to become a serious production, you need to make a little bit more. And they're not even, this isn't even a Netflix production, K-pop Demon Hunters. Were they even involved in this? So like,
Yeah, yeah, and we should say credit to Netflix for even doing these kind of numbers, right? Because in the streaming world, they're dominating. It's not even a question about who's leading the way. But I think the thesis here is, yes, you guys got big numbers, but let's stop relying on major actors just to get viewers, because these are fictitious characters you just created, K-pop Demon Hunters, or you acquired and stuck behind, and now they're the biggest thing in the world, like literally. And there's not even noticeable actors that maybe any American would know, unless you're obsessed with K-pop. I don't know.
Story is king. I think that's a tremendous point, that all these movies, you see so much star power, and that doesn't guarantee you anything anymore. People that sort of oh, they're in this, I'm gonna go see that. That's been ruined, unfortunately. We've been handed too much crap, and when consumers handed junk, they will only consume that junk for so long before they get buyer's remorse, and then they don't buy it all. And,
Yes.
and I think that's where we're at a point with Hollywood right now, is like, forget the celebrities. Like, people don't like them anyways. I think, it's like, get some fresh faces in there, focus on good stories. I think that's what this chart is telling me, because these movies probably should have made more, and the cost of having just these actors on there probably was majority of this cost, so they probably aren't making any money on those movies.
Right. And I think the last thing I'll say is, the point of making films that are supposed to reach wide audiences is rewatchability. So most of these films you're not going to rewatch. People are already on their fifth, sixth, second rewatch of K-pop Demon Hunters. That's the reason why people will buy Peacock, is to watch The Office over and over and over again. The point and the goal should be not, let's get a bunch of numbers and then no one will ever watch it again. The goal should be, let's get as many rewatch hours as we can. And that's what you get with K-pop Demon Hunters.
Yeah, and we also got a good Peter Dodd, the living legend, in the background right there, making a guest appearance. But I think that about wraps it up. Are there any movies that you think that didn't perform that should be on this list? What is your opinion of what Netflix's top 10 is? We'd love to see that in the comment section. But I appreciate you all, and we'll catch you all in another episode of